My dad hung himself. He then left a suicide note blaming me. He doted on me, was a daddy's girl. At a very young age, this darkness on me, fear, depression, which my mum was a timid lady, gentle. I was feisty. I became a protector for her. I grew up a little bit quicker. Traumatic events were catalyst triggered, which started it in Auntie Winnie. She was a character, give me sickies on the sly. And all of a sudden she just stood up and all this dark blood started coming out. And she died instantly in front of me. Now, I remember that was quite significant. I felt despair. I also had this darkness and this depression on me. Chaos that was at home. I just thought, I need to go. I need to get out of this world. At the age of 13, what on earth was going through my mind? Took my dad to GF one morning. I fell asleep and I just wanted to sleep and not wake up. Woke up vomiting. Done this again when I was 14. I was put on antidepressants for the very first time. Take ecstasy tablets. It takes you so high, euphoric, and then it takes you that low. 17, my dad's mental health became unbearable. He just wanted to control, but he was so poorly in his head. That's the only way I can explain it. So much so, though, he would brandish these big knives. Everyone was scared of him. He was feared. Even the police couldn't do anything. No one could help us. No one could help us, and no one would help us because he was that terrifying. You know, he was a 20-stone, crazy madman. He loved me, and I loved him. And it was really confusing. 1 minute he was just this loving, protective dad would do anything for me, and then on the other hand he would turn into this madman, this crazy madman, unrecognisable. He was like Jekyll and Hyde. I'd jump in front of my mum because if he would have got her, he would have killed her. Many times he would just pick me up by my chest like that, pick me up literally and body slam me to the wall. I'd end up in hospital. He'd been put in the cell for the night and he'd come to pick us up the next morning. He pulled out this machete and said he'd slit our throats if we were to tell the police again. He was going to take us all out because he didn't want to live and he didn't want us to live either. We went into hiding, flat on this 7th floor of this high-rise flat. He smashed the whole place up. He'd walking around on glass and not even feel it. Smashed the place. He'd be cut. He'd punch walls, solid walls. You could hear his knuckles crack. It wouldn't faze him. He was that kind of crazy man on a mission to find us and kill us and to throw us off that high-rise flat. So before he found us, I thought I'd go and see him. So I went this night and I walked in. It was a big Victorian house, eerily quiet. Walked in and he threw me on the bed and he tied me up. I've never been so scared in the whole of my entire life. He's over me and he's saying stuff to me. But when you look in his eyes, what were once piercing blue eyes had gone black. His voice had changed and he was sweating. Demon, that is not my dad. And he's got a gun over my head. All I can see, the fear, I thought that was it. My life, it's over. Over and done with now. Fear, sheer terror. That's all I can say. You know, I just reasoned with him the last time. I'll come back and I'll stay with you. If I was on him, left him for a minute and he realised what he was doing. And he let us go. Now I found out the day after, not only had he hung himself, but he'd left a suicide note stating I was the reason. Can you imagine all this guilt? The guilt, and also the devastation of losing him. He was my dad. What'd you do? I'll tell you what I did. I wouldn't talk about it. I was our first baby, thrown right into postnatal depression. Cocaine, but through the week I was low, so to bring myself high I would have to take cocaine. And I became a cocaine addict, but I was a functioning addict. I'd be speaking to you completely off my head, but you would not know. The more drugs you take, the more you need. Partying. The weekend I would not come home, and all this guilt and shame, because I believe as a mum should be one thing, not going out partying. I would just take cocaine to cover that up, to mask that. Pound a day now. And lies, deceit, and you've got manipulation. And then it all comes crashing down. Eyes in my head, they were telling me I wasn't good enough. My children would be better off without me. My husband would be better off without me. They could go and live another life with someone else. I'd be better off dead. And I listened to those lies. And this is what the devil does. He comes in as deceiving and whispers in your ear. So one night I took myself off, found a railway bridge. I tried to climb over it, couldn't get over it. A bottle of vodka. I already had cocaine on me because I was never without cocaine. I saw the church, a little church, and round the church was a garden. I thought, no one will find me in there. So I went in there, drank the bottle, smashed it, shoved it into my wrist, blood everywhere. I'm going to go do the other one, and this priest came behind me, and he got hold of me. He just held me until the ambulance come. I was put into a psychiatric hospital. I was diagnosed with manic depression, which is what we now know as bipolar. This is generational. This goes back, this is what my dad had, and it goes back, and also in the family as well. I put on lithium. That is an antipsychotic. And what those drugs do is just suppress your personality. But it didn't stop those lows. Those lows just got worse, and over the next 10 or so years, my life became horrendous. Moments where I am sat in my bed, and the only way I can explain it is I call it death fear. This death fear around me, where I'm stuck to the bed and I literally cannot move for hours. The anxiety and the fear that I was feeling was just unnatural. Every kind of therapy you can think of. I saw all kinds of psychiatrists, and in the end, all they could do, up the dose with the medication. That now I was on different kinds of antipsychotics, different kinds of antidepressants, but the highest amount. And with these drugs, it's like a steroid, you just balloon. I didn't eat every day, but I was ballooned. I had CPNs on house call. What are they? They are psychiatric nurses, because I was constant on suicide watch. I was riddled with anxiety. I couldn't string a sentence together in the end. I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to be normal. Told me, the psychiatrist, the consultants told me this was a lifelong illness. Bipolar, you'd never recover from. And I believe that. Having mental health, severe mental health all my life, and seeing my dad, and I was going down the same route as my dad. Where am I up to? That's just thrown me. Okay. And rehab couldn't get to the root problem, and I still couldn't stop. This medication that I used to take, let me tell you, there was Valium. I was addicted to diazepam. Addicts would call me up from coming out of the chemist and say, Vic, we've got them. I'd go down and buy them. The doctors would give me. I used to eat them like Smarties. I would take tramadol. I was on pregabalin, gabapentin, zopiclone, antipsychotics, antidepressants, codeine, fentanyl. This was killing me. My legs give in. I started shaking, fitting on the floor, shaking. This was a serotonin overdose. You don't recover from serotonin overdoses. So my mum came to live with us. She was my everything. Then COVID hit, and my mum got it. She lasted 6 days. Let me tell you, when I got that phone call to go and see her before she passed, I didn't even have a proper funeral for her. The depths of despair for 2 years. I hardly come out of that bedroom. only to get the cocaine. I took that in the end to cope with life because I could not get out of that bed. I'm going to be completely honest with you. My nose was caving in. The roof of my mouth was going. The pain every time I snorted it, cocaine, it was like a vice around my nose, around my mouth. It was on now 3 to 4 packs of Nurofen a day, so I could take cocaine daily. My doctor sent nurses round to get my bloods done because I wouldn't go. And he phoned me up and he said, Victoria, you're going to die. And I knew this. It was in a race to end my life, whether it be my body or mentally. I would take the medication so I would sleep all night, and that was a cycle, and that was how I was existing. Then one day, I was listening to those lies again. You know, my children would be better off without me, my husband would be better off without me. And I totally be honest, I completely believed that. No one could help me. I didn't have my mum, so I took myself off to the cemetery this Friday morning to see my mum's grave the very last time. And I spoke to her and I said, Mum, I'm going to go and take my own life. I'm going to hang myself like my dad did. And I knew where, I had it all planned out. I knew where and I knew when, and I'd give myself a few days. Let me tell you, there's a clarity that comes over you and a peace. And they say the devil is in the game of counterfeit. That peace was definitely counterfeit. So I got home and my husband said to me, there's a conference on at our church, come. I'm like, no way. In my head, I've just made a deal with the devil, you've got no chance. But I said, no, you're all right, not for me. I've been down that route before. And I tried church and I just couldn't get it. I was a Catholic. I'd made my Holy Communion. I'd done the things with God. You know, what I thought was God was like this big man in the sky with all rules and religions. I went to a school full of nuns. And he said to me, no, this is different. But I couldn't get it. I didn't get it. I just thought it was all not for me. Somehow, I'm en route to this church. And this man is preaching. And I'm sat there, and he starts looking over at me. I'm thinking, why is he looking at me? I'm thinking I'm paranoid. At the end, he said, anyone who wants prayer, come forward. The battle starts in my mind then. Do I really go up? Should I? Is this real? Can you imagine? It was all the good and the bad fighting. Anyway, the good one, I ended up at the front. And he held me, said, hold my hands. And he started praying with me. Next, when he started telling me what was happening to me the day before, word for word. I had never seen this man before in my life. He didn't know me. He knew nothing of me. I hadn't even told anyone. And all of a sudden, I felt this power, this fire inside my belly. It was like this fire, but it was going from the top of my feet right to the top of my head. It was euphoric. I've had drugs in the past, not a drug in sight. This was supernatural power. This was Jesus making himself known to me. He was loving my soul back to life. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. This was just pure love. That instant, that supernatural power. Generational curse was broken. Cocaine addiction was broken. Bipolar. Anxiety, depression, fear, that death fear I speak about, medication addiction, so much more, in an instant, gone. I said I was dying. 2 weeks later, I got my blood done and they all come back clear. God healed me from that. I am set free. The power of God. I now have a future of hope. I have a future of purpose. God has a plan and purpose for each and every one of you. You know, if it can happen to me, it can happen for you as well. I'm Vicky, and my heart belongs to Jesus. Hey!